What is up, guys? Hfmasters here, and today I am doing a review on the Skull Sorcerer's Dungeon. Now this set is going to retail for $99 in the United States, and it comes with 1,171 pieces. Now the front of the box obviously just shows off the dungeon. It's got all the minifigures, I think 8 of them, some of which are exclusive to the set. And the back, as always, shows just the features, shows off this expand the game. As you know, they're doing a board game style thing, which I will be making a video about later. Alright, so here is the Skull Dungeon all built up, and there's a lot to talk about here. So what I'm going to do is, since this is based off a board game, I'm going to actually simulate the board game. And to do that, we're going to use our good friend, trusty minifigure that comes in this set, Cole. Alright, so when you would enter the Skull Dungeon, basically just put Cole right over here and you start to walk up. What you notice here is actually 3 different paths, and you have this center path, you've got this side path, and you've got another side path over here. So let's go and actually start off with the side path on the right. Now this path on the right here is actually a very small, very simple path. Basically all you're going to do is just jump here, you've got a little nice bit of skull, like a spider here, and some nice detailing, bones and stuff, and then you just go right over here, and then you would make it right there. So it's just basically a quick little shortcut. Very nice path, not much going on. This actually is a very simple build. However, this, when you expand it with other sets, becomes a much more detailed thing, and that's actually why this is just so very simplistic in this set, because this area is meant to be used with the Journey to the Skull Dungeon set. One other small thing to note about this is if you actually land on this tile right here, you actually get sent back. So I imagine if you do land on that tile, you got to go back and you got to fight the spider again. So just a quick little thing you should note, which really could have an impact on the game. Alright, so moving back to this center area, we have 2 more paths to explore with Cole. So what we're going to do is we're going to, instead of going right to the center, why don't we move right to the side here. Now, when you actually go to this side, there's really not much going on in this first half of the left side here. It's actually basically a gift area. All you do is you're just basically going up the stairs, the little mountain, and a very simple thing. I mean, they've got a little sign here. In fact, they even have a little gold heart there, which kind of signifies that it's, oh, this is like an easy route. But what you'll notice is actually later on, it's not very easy. Just this segment, very easy, kind of like almost preparing you, like, oh, this part is easy, but don't worry, the next part will get very difficult. And there's just a bunch of small little things here. You got like the spider there, and you've got this bone piece, which you can actually sort of move a little bit. However, it doesn't really do anything. So yeah, I mean, just small little detailing there. Overall, just a small little path and very easy to travel through. Now right over here is where things start to get interesting. If you were to roll like a 3 and you just get past here, you can just climb up this ladder very easy, and hey, you made it up top, you know, like you did it. But if you land right there on the skull, here's what's going to happen. You're not going to be able to make it across, because you can easily just push that back and bam, you're stuck. Nothing to do, and that's a very cool feature. One of the first features, and I really like it. And honestly, you could just be climbing this up and you can just be like, nope, denied. Very cool feature. Something I haven't seen. And also, this ladder here just kind of like leans on as well, which helps with the whole curve that this is doing, because it's not a perfect curve and they're not using mixel ball joints. So just having that ladder there kind of leaning also helps with kind of creating this whole dimension that they're going with on this left side. And so if you actually reach it up top here, this is the final area, and you can just, you know, hopefully you can obviously just kind of hop through, make it to the other side. However, there's one issue, and it's that these guys right here spin around. So the blades are actually just controlled by moving this. You can move it however you want, counterclockwise, clockwise, doesn't really matter. This actually is really well integrated, looks pretty good. Don't like the gear right there, that's kind of a little obvious, but oh well, what can they do? There is actually a sticker up top there, which is also a nice little detail. And one thing to note is, I'm going to be going back to this quite a lot because what you can't see right now is that this controls much more than just the blades. One other thing to mention is actually this lower area has almost like these stairs, so I guess if you fall down, you could, theoretically, if you want, because there's these pins here, you could actually, if you fall down, have a little like longer route, and then you gotta climb up here to get back up top there. Just a small little thing, and it also goes to the whole idea of like you don't actually have to follow LEGO's specific instructions on how you want to set up the board game. And lastly, there's actually a super secret axe here, which is kind of cool. I don't know exactly what the point is, but it's there, and yeah. Now, if you actually manage to get coal, you know, all the way across here, what you'll see is you actually have, first off, a little heart there. You got a bone here, some crystals, some green crystals, not actually crystals, but you know, kind of represent that. And you got actually a little staircase up here, and that leads up top, which I'll be going over later. Also, just one thing to note, you do have a skull here, and you've got this green arrow. I imagine the skull would actually activate the blades. Alright, so we have one section left, and it's obviously this middle section. So, right, you know, we've got these skulls here as a greeting for our trusty hero Cole, and he's just going to go up, and he's going to go ahead and enter. But wait, it's not actually that simple, because whoa, he's going up and down. Whoa, what is this? So yeah, we're going to be talking about that for a quick second. So as you guys are probably aware, there's these skulls right here and right here, stickered pieces of course, and what they mean is, well, I would assume what they mean is you can start to activate this little trap here, and you can move these up and down. And this is actually done with the same gear that I mentioned before that works with those blades. So that's one of the other functions this works with, and it does work with one other function, which we will talk about a little bit later. Now I also just want to gush over the build of this a little bit here. I love these rock spikes right over here, and these actually can move. However, angled like this is probably the best. I don't know why you would necessarily want them down like that. There's just the option to do that as I go ahead and knock both of these off. Oh well, fix that later. But I love these here, and also I like the spikes here. Adds a little more to this specific one, like, oh, you're being eaten or something, which is very cool. Now, funnily enough, when you actually make it past this area, you actually have a couple options here. You can go right, you can go left, or you can just go straight. And we're going to talk about the left and the straight options first, because they don't actually lead anywhere. So right here on the left, it's literally just fish being cooked, and you can spin it around, you do whatever you want. Basically, you just got this fish, which is very loosely attached, being cooked. So you know, if Cole's like, oh, let's grab some fish, he can do that. So that's just a small little thing there. Kind of cool, kind of funny, just a small little thing. Also a little bit of a play feature, just nice to have, but doesn't really impact the game or add much to the set. Now, if you just go straight through this path, what you're going to end up doing is you're actually going to enter the dungeon, the skull mouth, and there's literally like nothing there. It's just the lava flow, and what they've done here, and this was a really nice building technique, they've actually put flame pieces inside of those 2x1, I think, 2x1 or 1x2 really tall like bricks. They're not 1x2s, they're like 1x8 or something. But they're these really huge, like tall bricks, and they're hollow inside. So what you can do is you can just place those flames in, and you can trap them inside, which is what they do. And that's a really awesome, like cool, like building feature that they have in there. And while we're here, we should obviously talk about the skull, which there's actually a little bit of like posability here. Like, oh, you can like do this, and you can sort of move these like around, which it doesn't look good like that. It looks best like this, and you would want to move this down like that. That's when it looks best. However, you can actually completely remove this, and that shows all the structures. So obviously with the skull removed, it's just a bunch of mountains. And the thing is though, is that I kind of like it like this. Like you can see like just like how massive this is, and like it's just a huge mountain. Like when you add the skull, it kind of takes away from that, and so it's sort of in a way like cool looking to have it like this. Now obviously this doesn't look super great, and the skull does kind of cover that up. Like this area and is kind of where like the eyes go, so it helps kind of cover that up, and these get blocked off and it moves down. Like this is sticking out. You're not going to see that when you put the skull there. So it does look a little bit like incomplete in a way, but overall, I mean, this is really cool to have the ability just to look at, and you can actually like see all the mountain terrain, which is really awesome. I love like the mountain terrain on this set and on the Journey to Skull dungeon, and it was something I was worried about. I thought, oh, this wasn't gonna look too good, but this actually looks fantastic. And depending on what you prefer, you know, you have the option just to easily take the skull off. You might actually like this better. You might like the natural like terrain look better. So that's always an option that you have. Now lastly, there is this side area, this right side, which is basically the way you would continue. So you just go up here, you know, you got Cole, he's moving up, and this is actually sloped with a mix of ball joints. This looks so nice. I don't know why, just like absolutely love that it's sloped there. Just move up here, and you sort of reach like a little rest area with a skull for some reason. But you've got all these weapons here, you've got a heart here, just a little quick area that you can resupply. Now while we're here, I suppose I should mention the cage, which, you know, obviously moves, and it's done with that same gear area that I mentioned before. You can move it up and down, so that's kind of cool. And of course, the cage, very simple build, can fit one minifigure, and not really too different from the one in the Skull Dungeon, but it's nice to have. You know, you can capture like a ninja. Now before I go and talk about all the things here in this back area, I'm going to talk about this gear and this gear, which this actually works for the lava and this works for the cage. So when you spin it around, you can see, oh, these gears are moving. So that's just kind of like, it's all sort of connected in a way. You can see right down there, there's actually a gear moving as well. So you can kind of see where these are all connected, which is kind of neat. I actually like that, you know, they show the gears off and they are hidden, you know, not necessarily in the back, but they are hidden in the front, and you can kind of see actually like what's going on. You can sort of see the engineering behind it, which is cool. Now the one really important detail to note here is this is actually where the Ivory blade of Deliverance is. So if you wanted to, you'd have to actually like somehow wrap around it. You could, I'm sure you could use the like there's pins right here. You could use those pins and kind of connect some of your pieces to make it easy to access that area. But that's not necessarily the main goal. It's just this is here. You've also got a couple of gold there, and because why not, you've got a spear here. Now this second floor is actually very interesting because it's got all sorts of weird and super just strange things. I mean, you've got like this crystal here, you've got a flame, you've got another like crystal in here. You even got like a magic wand thing, and you've got a picture here which is a sticker. We've also got another picture right over there which is a sticker piece as well, and you've got armor here which is very interesting. So that's just kind of cool. This is like a small little area. You can actually definitely get like 2 minifigures in here. It's wide enough, it's big enough. There's that, but very nice little area on the second floor. Not really super accessible, just like this lower area, but it's still nice to have. And of course we have this top section right here, and you know, you've got this little area that's kind of covering up the Shadow Sword of Deliverance, and all you got to do to unveil that is you've got this little section right here. You just push it up and bam, there you go. And Cole can just kind of move up and grab the sword, and I guess he wins. So yeah, that's cool. And there's also definitely enough space that you can fight like the Skull Sorcerer or whoever you want up there. Small little thing. The only downside about this is, for some reason, I cannot for the life of me get these to actually be like this. I have them, they just naturally want to be a little bit curved. So there's that. It's not a huge issue. I really don't care too much about that. Now before I move on to the minifigures, I am going to mention just a couple side builds. So first off, you have these 2 little character stands, 2 of these. This one's Cole's, this one's Zane's. Technically you could use whoever you want, you could put anyone on there. This is a very common build, it comes in pretty much all of the sets. So very simple, common thing. If it's got the board game application, you're going to be getting at least one of these. And Cole's has a crossbow in there, Zane's has nothing. From the sets I have, from what I believe, this is the only one that actually has even anything in there. So that's cool. And then one other thing, which isn't really much of a side build, but it's the spinner. You can just spin it. There you go. It spins around, does its thing, and once it falls, if it lands on something and you want to, like, so this is heart and 2, and a heart of 2, I believe, means go, something like that. I'm not exactly too sure, so don't quote me on that. I do have to brush up on the game, but I will be making an in-depth video later that's going to fully explain that. I just know for a fact that what you land on, like whatever you land on right there, is going to be how much you move. Now this set has 8 minifigures, 4 good guys, 4 bad guys. You've got Hero Lloyd, you've got Hero Zane, Hero Cole, the Princess Vania, Sorcerer, the Awakened Warrior, Ginkle, and Mert. And honestly, these guys are just, it's whatever. The only one that's exclusive is the Princess. I like the ratio there that they have. It is like it's a good ratio. The bad guys or whatever, I kind of wish they would have put more of the Awakened Warriors, mainly because it's looking like those are the guys you're going to want to army build, and I think we only get 3 of them, maybe 4. We don't really get many of them, but overall they're nice. I do like the Ninja a lot. They have those nice shield pieces. All of them have interesting, prints. A couple of them have double-sided faces. Overall, nice minifigure selection. Alright, so overall, the Skull Dungeon, I've got to say, I really like this set. For $100, there's a lot of play you're going to get out of this set. I mean, this is a really, really good set, and it works really well with the board game. Obviously, I don't know all the rules, but like, you can just tell. I mean, it's got all these different paths, 3 different paths for the board game, which is just super cool. You've got all sorts of different things, a bunch of fun features you can play with, and just a fun build, and it looks great. Now obviously this is kind of big, so it is going to take up some space, but honestly I don't really think of that as much of a complaint. And not only that, but it has the ability to combine with a bunch of other sets. All the side builds and other sets you can combine. You can do all sorts of different combinations, all sorts of types of board games you want to set up. And you really can get like a ton of hours of play out of this set. Like, this set truly is like an ultimate play set, and you've got a really good balance of good guys, bad guys, really cool, desirable minifigures. Obviously, you want to get Cole, you want to get Skull Sorcerer. You've got the exclusive figure. You've got some bad guys. You've got some good guys. Really good selection here. And honestly, I think this set is 100% worth it. When I originally bought this set, I was having this feeling of dread, almost like, oh, is this going to be just not worth it? Like, when I bought the Dragon Pit, which, don't get me wrong, it's a good set, but I don't know, just at the $130 price tag, just didn't feel worth it in my opinion, maybe a little bit lower. But everything about this set, I'm absolutely like in love with this set. It's so good. So obviously, yes, I'm going to recommend this. I hope you all enjoyed this review, and stay tuned for more reviews. We've got all the sets, so they're going to be coming soon. We're still working on building some of them, so that's why reviews are taking some time. But thank you guys for watching, and until next time, this is Hfmasters saying goodbye.